Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurame Deva Sarvakarachu Sarvada. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanya Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Om Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Hanumanji Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 14th of September 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Bhagavan, residing in the Hridaya Akash, in the heart of every single being. Bhagavan Krishna says in the Gita that the Ishvara, the Paramatma, that is Krishna himself, resides in the heart of every single being. Ishvaraha Sarva Bhutanam Ruddhe Shreirjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. When we are talking about the Prema Bhakti, the discovery of the Mukta state, being in the liberated state, one of the key points to keep in mind, or key truths, it's just a satyam, that we are alive because of the presence of Bhagavan, presence of God. It's inside of us. We don't realize this. What we see is this world outside. We see this world outside, we see this body, and our desires and feelings and emotions and all these things are going on. But the presence of Paramatma is right inside of us. Where are we going to find God? Within, it's an internal journey. Yes, it is an internal journey. While performing all duties and actions through the body-mind complex in the best possible way. Yes, without a doubt. And this is the great science of Vedanta. The science of spirituality is teaching us through the Gita, Brahma Sutras, thousands of years of paramparas, that we have mind. We have a mind. We have, our thinking ability is there. And this is called manas. So I'm going to continue from yesterday's discussion on the mind and see where it takes us today. A couple of things to keep in mind. This is that Vedantic terminology is very precise, because this was a study that was done thousands of years back on the mechanisms of the inner world. So they discovered Antakarana. Antakarana is one of the words, internal instrument, Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar. So we're talking about the manas in terms of the connection with Navda Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, and the Mukta state. Specifically, we want to focus on that. If you remember, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, at some point, we talked a little bit about the Amrut Bindu Upanishad, which has 36 verses. Man eva manushanam karanam bandhamokshayoho. That's one of the verses. But we looked at I think the first 2 verses only. But maybe I'll bring in that connection in this current series about the mind also. We'll see how it goes. So a couple of terms to keep in mind. Sankalpa and Vikalpa. These are 2 words that many of you may have heard. Sankalpa means the deciding, affirming impulse. I will do this. I choose to do this. That this is part of our mental framework. We make decisions all the time. Vikalpa means doubting or posing alternatives or rejecting. Maybe not this, maybe not this, maybe do something else instead. This is called Sankalpa Vikalpa cycle. This is oscillation. So together Sankalpa Vikalpa create oscillation. The mind's characteristic oscillation, a loop of attraction, hesitation, retraction. Attraction in the sense that, okay, I want to do this now, and then no, I shouldn't do this now, and then we kind of retract. It goes back and forth. So these are the default gears of the mind, of the manas, like a gear in the in the car. These are default gears of the manas, which are not the primary seat of the decision-making capacity, which belongs to the buddhi. Buddhi is the one that discriminates. Okay, should I do this? Should I not do that? It really makes a decision. But the restlessness, the restless proposer of possibilities, this possibility, it goes like this. It's very interesting. So the functional role of the manas, of course, it interfaces with the senses. Our senses are interfacing, our five senses. So the manas interfaces with the five senses. It organizes perceptions, or puts everything into organization. It's brain function. And handling them and handing them. It takes all those impressions and everything else that's coming inside our mind. It gives them to the buddhi for decision. What should be done now? Isn't it so? Like, take the simple example of going for shopping in a store, or inside a grocery store. All these inputs are coming. Then the decision is made. Okay, like buy this, like this. That is called buddhi. Buddhi is the decider. So quickly, there's three functional roles of the manas. Input manager. It collects sensory impressions, integrating them into provisional drafts. It takes all kinds of input within, integrates it. This is what's going on. All right. Attentional switchboard directs focus, toggling between compelling stimuli. Our attention is shifting from one place to another. And the emotional ally immediately ties to affect, pleasure, aversion, fear, curiosity. Our emotions are connected very quickly to the input stimuli and to the way the brain works. Again, this is all psychology, neuropsychology. These things are studied in a lot of detail. I'm just giving a very brief overview here. All right. Now the question is, how does this relate to the 9 forms of devotion? As we were saying yesterday, in Kirtan, Archan, Vandan, Smaran, Sakhyam, all of these different 9 forms of devotion, there is a profound impact on the manas, on MANAS. We can say mind in simple language, but it has a impact when we start doing bhajan kirtan, that's why we do like 45 minutes every day. Why we do that? Because it changes the bandwidth of the mind. The rhythm repetition that goes on, nearly the same pattern we try to maintain every day. Why? It builds bhakti inside. It narrows the bandwidth and prevents scattering. Mind gets less scattered. We feel better. Our Shakti is more preserved. So this is Kirtan, when we do Bhajan Kirtan. Archan. Archana is where there is the lamp that is used, the flowers are used, the incense stick is used, other paraphernalia. This is how worship occurs. What does that do? It interrupts the sensory flow from other places, and it interprets sensory flow, or it actually it's a way of focusing the sensory flow on God through the sacred symbols. It's a very, I mentioned it before. You can literally take the Gita. Buy a small Gita. You should have that at home. Everybody should have Gita at home. And to hold it in the right hand, put a flower on top, and sit or stand in front of the murti. Any murti, आपकी इच्छा, भगवान कृष्ण, दुर्गा देवी, शिव जी, जो मूर्ति आपको प्रिय है, no problem. राधिका जी, उनके आगे, hold this Gita, and then take steady breaths in and out. You see, this is a archana. We think of archana in terms of arti and puja and all that, and that's true. That is obviously there. This is also archana, where you hold the Gita and then take steady breath in and out. Bring the heart into that feeling. Now you can attach a bhajan to this, or mantra if you want, to resonate with the feeling, with the sacredness of the Gita, to bring that into a sacred space. That it's not just a book, it is a very holy book. It is a very divine, that bhav comes inside when we hold it this way. This is how the scriptures are perceived as being sacred, meaning divya. People, when they take the oath, they use the Bible, right? Why is that? The same reason. Now some of the politicians in more recent years, Hindu politicians, they're taking the oath on the Gita. Isn't it so? It's like that. So this is how our sacred dimension opens up. That the scriptures, Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutras, Upanishad, these are sacred texts. And they are utilized, before even they are read, while they're read, of course, but when they are read with that bhav, that this is sacred language, divine language, then that is a type of worship. It is a type of archana, actually. It is a type of very, very deep, intense love for the words of the sacred language. So this is how mind is affected. Mind, the sankalpa vikalpa is the whole ball game in spirituality. It has to synchronize into a continuous flow towards Paramatma. And that is a mukta state. A mukta state, a jivan mukta state, is where one is liberated from the entanglements of sankalpa and vikalpa. Sankalpa, vikalpa, they go on, but then there's no more vikalpa left. There is only very clear sankalpa that these are the things to be done. The path is very clear. There's no diversion from the path towards Paramatma. Diversion hota nahi. Why is there diversion? Because of vasanas, because of wanting something else, something this, something that, whatever. Some diversion occurs. But when a bhakta is heightened in bhakti heightens, there's no more diversion. There's no more diversion that's going to happen. Because there is solidification of jnana and vairagya. Jnana, the jnani is very clear about how binding happens. He's also clear about ethics and morality. That is dharma. As you remember, like the tripod analogy, dharma, jnana, vairagya, 3 legs of that's called a tripod. Then on top of that is the mounting, right? So there's the camera or something is mounted on top of the tripod. Similarly, dharma, jnana, vairagya is the base. And what is mounted on top is bhakti. If you remember this point, just visualize a tripod and mount bhakti on top. If there's a problem in the base, you cannot have you cannot have just a 2-point or 2-leg apparatus and something will sit on its top. No, you have to have 3. Then, okay, if you think like those cameras we have and all those, right? We mount something on top. Dharma, Jnana and Vairagya are the base. So dharma is the right ethical action day to day, hour to hour. And part of that dharma means watching where these 5 senses are going. Where are they going? Which direction? It goes back to our angel wing concepts, the 5-6-5, quantity, quality, direction, dimension, depth, structure, right? Where are they going? Which direction are they going in? That's a way to perceive insight. So when we have this mala, always carry a mala with you if possible. Depending on context, you may keep it in your purse or keep it somewhere. When the time comes, when there's free time, Bhagwan ka naam. Other things we do in life, we have studies, other things, whatever, friends, family, this and that. It's okay. Do it with love, affection, karma yoga. When you're sitting by yourself again, Bhagwan ka naam. Bhagwan ke saath connection. Again and again. Again and again. Again and again to connect. That is the greatest sadhana. That is the greatest duty. And when we start doing that, our system, our physiological system, gets better because of the stopping of damage to energy by Sankalpa Vikalp. Sankalpa Vikalp क्या करते? वो damage कर देते शक्ति को. This, I should do this, I should do this, I should do this. And then we start going in one direction, another direction, another direction. Nothing is properly done the way it needs to be. And this is the whole point. Even if we are having just a simple 5-minute conversation with a family member, have the conversation properly, thoroughly, clearly, offer the whole conversation internally as a havan. Havan is not just, those, havan, the physical havan is one kind. Ye bhi havan hi hai. When we have a conversation with another person, that is also havan. Have you thought about that? How interesting can that be? Any conversation. Why? How is it a havan? Because energy is being used to speak. Then what is being spoken is spoken in the light of Paramatma. It is spoken in a limited way. It is spoken in the right way. It is spoken in the right time. Everything is in the right proportion. And then that is spoken with love and affection. Isko havan kehte hain. That is part of Jnana Yagna. There is something called Jnana Yagna. So when we speak, like right now Sachin is speaking on these forms of bhakti. This is Jnana Yagna. Aap sun rahe hai, this is Jnana Yagna. So Yagna means offering and then transformation. Yagna has multiple steps. One of those steps is offering. The samagri. In this case, we're offering words. And then those words carry energy. And then there's the burning up. Right? There is what? When we offer into the havan with the Agni is going on, it burns and transforms everything into Agni. Isn't it so? Brahma Agni is our goal. If you write this word down, if you're taking notes, Brahma Agni. Brahma Agni. So what is Brahma Agni? Brahma Agni is where our language, our vision, our speech, our kriya, sharirik mansik kriya is all offered in the light of Brahman. It is offered this way, beautifully, in the light of Brahman. How? How is it offered? One action to another. See, like right now, I think Srinivas is showing the Gaushala. I think that's where he is. This is in Delaware, in southern. It's in Maryland, actually.
Maryland, yeah.
Maryland. It's in Maryland, right? So
yeah, Maryland.
Maryland. Yes, it's on the border there.
This is the inside Goshala.
Inside the Goshala. Beautiful, beautiful.
There are two outsides, Ram and Krishna, Balram and Krishna outside. You can see.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Isn't that amazing?
Krishna Priya, Radha Priya, Shiva Priya, whatever we call.
Yes, very nice. See how beautiful the cows are? Absolutely, right? So, again, this is an example of transformation. That when we are offering like fruits or vegetables to these cows, as an example, like Srinivas is doing right now, what is that? That is a yagna. That is offering to God. And the same concept is there in every action. That's our goal. That as day to day, hour to hour, every action becomes yagna. Every action. It becomes yagna because there is no ahankar in that. First of all, there is the offering of the action for the benefit of the world, for the benefit of all. Take for example, speech. When we speak to another person, are we speaking for the benefit of all and for that person? It's not easy. One has to be very patient. The other forms of bhakti, the Shravan bhakti and other sadhana done, that helps us to gain the right kind of energy inside the buddhi, so that the words that are coming from the mouth are the best quality words. It's the quality of the language that is coming from the mouth towards others. That is a type of bhakti only. It is bhakti. It is where our sankalpa vikalpa pattern is not functioning just based on the egotistical dimension. And this is true in each action. That each action done in the right way, in the right amount, for the right purpose, without getting stuck, entangled, or egotistical action, this is called dharma. Dharmagneyo sadacharaha shruti smruti prapaditan. That's the definition of dharma in Shikshapatri. Shruti smruti में जो लिखा है, after years of research of how to utilize the senses and the body itself and align it for the purpose of bhakti and mukti, that technology is called dharma. And that technology is within us. It is dormantly living within us. Once we begin to live inside the dimension of dharma, and then we are also listening to scriptures and bringing the Manan Chintana process inside, plus doing 9 forms of devotion, then Vairagya also will come right along. So Dharma, Jnana and Vairagya, they will all blossom beautifully. And the sadhana bhakti is actually within those 3. And then the Siddha bhakti is the goal. So Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya bhakti as a sadhana is at one level. And then the dimensional jump into the Siddha state is at another level. In the Siddha bhakti, Siddha dharma, Siddha vairagya, Siddha jnana, when all 4 are Siddha meaning that they have been accomplished to their highest level, then a bhakta, that is Jivan Mukti. That the individual is a mukta in the sense that each action, each activity, every part of the 24-hour cycle is experienced in the living presence of Paramatma. Living presence. Not simply beliefs, not simply some back and forth rituals and all. No, not that. This is a different matter. Living presence. Again, keep this in mind. Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti. The definitions are easy to understand. Dharma is ethics, what ought to be done. I just explained it. Jnana is what? Right vision, the separation between what is true, what is not true, what is real, what is not real. The scriptural teachings are contemplated over. And so Jnana is where the right vision opens up. And Vairagya is where this Sankalpa Vikalpa, this entire vortex of the mind, it settles down. Raga, Dvesha, Aham, Mamatve, sab settle ho jata hai. And Vairagya is a great state of freedom from inside. There's a profound steadiness in Vairagya. Beyond Raga and Dvesha, that is Vairagya. So with those 3, and then the sadhana bhakti continuing 9 forms of devotion, one rapidly makes progress towards Siddha state. Sachin can decide, I want to reach Siddha banna hi hai, bas. Not as an egotistical thing, but we want to, it is the culmination of God, it is the culmination of human possibility. Ki Siddha banna hi hai. No more rolling back and forth. Back and forth, getting stuck inside the vortex of Maya and damaging energy. No more. There has to be a point where internally a bhakta decides, that's it. There's a line in the sand, as they say. A line is drawn. There's a line here. That's it. It's done. Now we're not going to fall back. It's a decision made in the buddhi that I'm going to please God. Bhagwan ka sakshatkar karna hi hai, jo bhi ho. When this comes about, all 9 forms of bhakti begin to flourish. they just begin to expand like unbelievable. Then the wanting to remain inside bhakti, it continues and continues and continues and continues. Bhakti is not a terminus. Now I'm done with it. It's not like that. It continues. And it grows and blossoms and blossoms and blossoms and blossoms. It grows forever. The mukta is constantly relishing the bhakti. इसको रस कहते हैं, भगवत रस, भगवान की भक्ति का रस. There's no end to that. There is an end to these vishayas, panch vishayas. Shabda, sparsha, rupa, ras, gandhi. There's a limitation in the material world. These are limited. We can go on the best cruise ship. We can go on private jets. We might, if you have lots of money to do lots of those kinds of things, you can fly over Mount Denali in Alaska, and some rich people can go over there and fly in those private planes and all that. Okay, after that, what's next? What's next? More cruise ships, more trips. Okay, what's next? And then what? Let's say you have Elon Musk or somebody puts these tours to the moon or Mars in the future. Okay, what's next? Let's say you do that. Then what? Let's say, let's take it further, 100 years from now, 500 years from now. Some special spaceship can take you to the center of the galaxy. Okay, what's next? क्या बड़ी बात है इसमें? इसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. It seems like that. Okay, what's next? It doesn't matter how much we expand the experience in the Prakriti, it will get saturated. It will get saturated. You'll say, what's next? Something next, something more, something next. And it will keep getting saturated. It is amazing, no doubt. The developments of Prakriti bhi anant hai. But Bhagwan ki bhakti is beyond all of these things. Because when a mukta is there, the mukta sits with just one name of Paramatma. Ram, Krishna, Hari, Shiva. And taking the name even one time, infinite universes appear. Now, which is great? Taking a spaceship to the center of the galaxy or whatever, or sitting in dhyan with one mala and taking the name of God one time. Shri Ram, Shri Krishna, Om Namah Shivaya, Narayanaya. Taking the name one time, infinite universes appear. Which is greater? Which is greater? Just think about this. Which is greater? अनंत कोटि ब्रह्मांड अक्षर के एक रोम में फिरते हैं. लोया नंबर 12, वचनामृत. भगवान का जो धाम है, इसको अक्षर धाम कहते हैं. And in that Akshardham, or in that sthiti, when where Mukta is living in that state, unke in one part of one Rome, isko kehte in Gujarati Rome, in one speck of the Mukta's body, infinite galaxies and universes are there. So which is greater? Running blindly in this material world and dying one day, or sitting for dhyan and bhakti and bhajan or Bhagwan ke saath connection? Which one is greater? We don't realize, because the instantaneous things are what are attracting us. Yes, they are there. And we can keep expanding this thing. There's no end to that. There's no end to it. You can go to the moon or go to the Mars or go to the galaxy or go to some other galaxy or go three-dimensional space mein hi hai. And then what? And that's all too small. The rishis realized this long time back. Look at our scriptures. They said we don't need to do all those things. You can do it if you want. वो कुटी में बैठते थे, ध्यान में बैठते थे. And it's found out that the billions of universes are existing within you. Soham, Shivoham, Ayam Atma Brahma. क्या बात है ये? What a tremendous thing है. ध्यान का महिमा है. We looked at it yesterday, Garuda Pratham 5. When we sit for dhyan, dhyan is the culmination of the Navda Bhakti. Unbroken flow. भगवान के साथ नारायण नारायण स्वामी नारायण लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान के जो मंत्र है. Sanatan Dharma has given us the greatest gift. It has given us mantras upon mantras. इतनी सुंदर परंपरा है, इतने अद्भुत शास्त्र है, और क्या चाहिए जीवन में? What else do we want? But we're running around like a foolish person inside this sansar. Running inside this sansar, trying to find ananda by expanding the experiences in the sansar. इसको क्या कहते हैं? इसको मूढ़ता कहते हैं. You never find ananda that way. Impossible. Only thing with people, yes, we will get experiences. They are limited. They will get saturated. Some people like to go to restaurants, foodies. One restaurant to another. Oh, karo. Are you going to find anand? You'll find sukha. If you don't go too extreme, and it'll become dukh. It is limited. But इसमें आनंद की प्राप्ति नहीं होती. Anandam is continuous. It is unbroken. And that is only available through bhakti. And that bhakti is available for everybody. You don't have to have so much. You need some things here and there. It's not like that. But that's all. That is a difference between the journey into the material world and the journey into the inner world. Yes, somebody put a text message. So there's a balancing between the two, between the external and the internal. We can go into the external world. But even if the external activity is going on with family, friends, this, that, so many, there is never a loss of the mind, or there is never the mind losing its connection with Paramatma. So if you're going into the external world, that experience is seen as another dimension of Paramatma, as Vibhu Swarup. Vibhu means what? Vast Swarup of this Paramatma. If you go into the mountains, go into the lakes, go into fields, go into different places, but to go there with the attitude that Bhagwan ka hi darshan kar rahe, then there is no issue. Then one is not running there to find Ananda, one is starting with Ananda, staying in Ananda, and the experiences of Prakriti that are coming and going, they are seen in the light of Ananda. There is no issue. Then if you are going to go to the moon, or go to the galaxy, or go to this, or whatever is going to happen in the future, okay, fine. It doesn't matter. Or what, like in our life right now, we try to take different trips, go to different places. We say, I want to go on vacation. But you will not make that statement, make it functionally. There's a 24-hour vacation when one is in the Atman. जिसको आत्मज्ञान हो गया है, कहाँ आने जाने का कुछ नहीं रहता. That's the difference. So, same action is performed. And absolutely, our mind needs diverse experiences. It's not that, please don't misunderstand. We're not saying, Sachin is not saying you take a mala and you sit in front of the Murti of Krishna for 10 hours. I mean, maybe some special sadhana can be done like that once in a while. That's not what we're saying. Regular life. But bring it into the divine life, divine light. Same, the words that we're speaking, the places we're going, we see trees and flowers and mountains. Bhagwan ka chintan isme ho sakta hai. We can remember the Paramatma. Of course, the experiences are there. You go to gardens, for example. There's a beautiful sensory experiences. Sense experiences are not denied, but they are seen in the light of pure consciousness by contemplation. If you are sitting in a beautiful garden, then take a mala and take the name of Bhagavan. Listen to the higher ideals. The environment makes a lot of difference. So there are 8 aspects that will facilitate bhakti. That is called Desh, Kal, Kriya, Sang, Mantra, Shastra, Diksha, Dhyan. There's 8 of them. If they are beneficial, then our journey towards Paramatma is fantastic. Is going to be facilitated. And if there's deficiency in that, if there's problems in these 8, then we can get stuck. Desh, Kal, Kriya, Sang, Mantra, Shastra, Diksha, Dhyan. We'll need more time to talk about what they are. We'll maybe talk about it tomorrow, what they are. But in simple language, they're favorable circumstance. there's clean air, clean water, there's time available, there's, air pollution is not there, noise pollution is not there, things like that. Kriya, the actions that we can perform through the body can be done properly. Sangha, the right kind of contact is there to help us on this journey. That is called Sangha. Diksha means, yes, there's a question. Give me just 1 second here. Diksha means Diksha means a path. Taking Diksha means a path towards Paramatma, a particular path. That is called Diksha. Because there's a question, somebody has a question. Please unmute and ask. Is there a difference between a Siddha and a Jivan Mukta? In one sense, there can be, depends how the word Siddha is defined. Someone who has been granted the 8 Siddhis, Ashta Siddhi, this is an intermediate stage, can be considered to be a Siddha, but may not be a Jivan Mukta completely. So it depends how the word Siddha is used. There are 8 major Siddhis, 8 minor Siddhis, and there's many other Siddhis, like there's no end to them. These are all powers in Maya. These are powers related to Maya. So you could be sitting and 10 people are sitting in front of you, you can read their minds like an open book. This is a kind of Siddhi, right? Or Vachan Siddhi. Somebody says, Aisa ho jayega, aisa hota hai, is Vachan Siddhi. These are all powers within Prakriti. So that is an intermediate stage that yogis get. Yogis get these siddhis if they are progressing. Aisi ek sthiti hai. But they need to leave them alone. They need to leave them alone and not deliberately use them. If they are used by the grace of Paramatma, fine. That's not an issue. But if they are used deliberately, then the yogi or the bhakta will fall straight down to point zero again. You see, so they are to be left aside. It's like a special gift, that you get. You have to leave it alone. You don't do anything to it. And then move on from there into Jivan Mukta state. So in one sense, those who are getting 8 siddhis, or those kinds of siddhis, they leave them alone. They move towards Jivan Mukta state. Now, a Jivan Mukta can also be called a Siddha. But Siddha in what sense? That person has reached a Siddha state where it's called Siddha Dasha. Siddha in terms of that they are not going to fall out of the liberated state. Wherever they go, whatever happens. No falling out of the Mukta state, isko kehte hai Jivan Mukta ki sthiti. Sthiti is probably maybe a good word to use there. Jivan Mukta ki sthiti, or wo Siddha ban gaye. So they have mastered their mind. The mastery of the mind completely, the thought, emotion, memory, desire, energy, 100% mastery is called a Siddha. Now, so in that state, saintly qualities are there. Ahankar is not functioning anymore in terms of the entanglement feature. All of that is going on. The mind and senses and everything are completely harmonized. Vairagya bhi hai. Experiences continue of life, but one is not stuck inside of them. These are all the qualities of a Jivan Mukta, living liberation. Yes, so that's a good question. Siddha, so from a bound state into an unbound state, there are many intermediate levels of this type. So it's a journey. It's a journey to be taken, but there's a long journey and there's a direct path. So we are interested in the direct path. We want to just jump into the Siddha state, into the book Jivan Mukta. Main Jivan Mukta hi hu, wahan se hi chalu karna. Start with that internally. And then dive into bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, dive into that, into the 9 forms of bhakti. And by diving into that, Bhagwan ka swarup, it will begin to absorb inside. It's a connection. So continue, but watch out for the back and forth pulling and tugging. Somebody says something to us, some situation happens, we get drawn into that. That is where bring in Gnan and Vairagya. Theek se jo chal raha hai. What is my duty at this point? Find out what that is, to interact with the situation without getting stuck. And that is the connection between Dharma and Vairagya, Dharma and Gnan. So they are connected together. Dharma, Gnan, Vairagya and Bhakti are all interconnected together. In Vachanamrut Garada Pratham 17, भगवान स्वामीनारायण वो स्वयं कहते हैं, श्रीजी महाराज, he says कि he says धर्म ज्ञान वैराग्य भक्ति एक बीजानी अपेक्षा, that they are interconnected, interdependent, interlinked. So when we link them inside, then everything is clear. There's another question here. What should be the aim? What is the aim of it? See, the aim of a Jivan Mukta, the aim of the Jivan Mukta kya meaning kya hai? That living in our ordinary life with absolute internal freedom. What is that freedom? There is no more damage to internal energy by its going into raga, dvesha, aham, mamatva. None of that is happening anymore. So what is the aim of the Jivan Mukta? The Jivan Mukta's aim is to continue in Siddha Bhakti and Seva. Only two things. The Jivan Mukta is not stuck inside the ego dimension anymore. The Jivan Mukta does Seva. Completely Seva is done. Seva Muktischa Gamyatam. This is one thing that is every Kriya, every action is done as Seva. Is done in the light of Paramatma, and it is also Siddha Bhakti. Bhakti is completely, has opened up, which is love. So every action, every vision, anywhere where the Jivan Mukta looks, there is looking through the anointed eyes of love. Everywhere. Yes.
That means we should aim for being a Siddha, or should we aim for being a Jivan Mukta?
Aim for being a Jivan Mukta. Usme Siddha, automatically it is there. Because you want to bypass all of those intermediate steps. You don't want to be stuck in those intermediate. So get to the end point and land on that end point. I'll give you a simple example. You want to climb Mount Everest. You can try to climb it physically. It takes years of training. Or you can take a helicopter, literally get into the very good quality helicopter and land right on top of the Mount Everest. Now, which one you want to do? You want to go some people may want to go step by step, take 4 or 5 years of training and assuming body can handle all that. Otherwise, you can take a helicopter and go straight on top. Which one we want? Diving into the Jivan Mukta state by resonating with it. 100% resonance की स्थिति ऐसी है और ये मेरी है. स्थिति ऐसी है, ये मेरी है. इसी ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचिति न कांक्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद भक्तिम लभते परा. ये स्थिति मेरी है. Resonance. What is the big sadhana in that? All you have to do is get into the helicopter. And the helicopter will take you straight to there. What is that helicopter? What is that vehicle? That vehicle is the state of enlightened sages. वो ही मैं हूँ. Think about this. वो ही मैं हूँ. अक्षरम अहम पुरुषोत्तम दासोस्मि. वो ही मैं हूँ. That's it. It's one step realization. वो ही मैं हूँ. मीराबाई की स्थिति वो ही मेरी स्थिति है. तुलसीदास की स्थिति वो ही मेरी स्थिति है. गोपियों की स्थिति वही मेरी स्थिति है. प्रेमानंद स्वामी, मुक्तानंद स्वामी, ब्रह्मानंद स्वामी, गुणातीतानंद स्वामी, जो भी है, सब बड़े बड़े संत वही मैं हूं. Break the division. Now practically in our life, same activity continues. Internally, मैं कौन हूं? मैं दिव्य हूं, मैं ब्रह्म. शंकराचार्य जी की स्थिति है वही मैं हूं. That's it. That is a direct link. And so how do we do this? We sit with a mala. Bhagwan ki murti hai. Bring inside the Gita. Bring it inside. Bring inside Shankaracharya ji ki sthiti. Go through the scriptures. Bring it inside. Don't keep it outside anymore. Bring it inside. Don't leave all those scriptures. Ye sab shastro hai. Shastras are there. Murtis are there. Mandir hai. Bring it inside. That's me. Main ye hu. I am not this small, limited, tormented mind. No, not at all. And when we hold that belief, this is called Brahmanishta. It's a belief in the beginning. Then in that belief, the 9 forms of devotion, Manan, Chintan, Shravan, everything, the continuous link inside the Adhyatma, it begins. And then the Mukta Sthiti goes, we go from Brahmanishta into Brahma Swarupa. That's the one step. That's actually the one step. So it's like a two-step. Step number one is to go from where we are in our usual mixed up life into Brahmanishta. Step one. Step two is to go from Brahmanishta and jump into, by the grace of God, into Brahma Swarupa. अब ब्रह्म स्वरूप बन जाएंगे. It's a realization of Brahman. बड़े बड़े संत की जो स्थिति है वो स्थिति की बात है. It's not about somebody giving a certificate or putting a stamp on the forehead or on the arm or something like that. Now you've reached that. It is what is the way to determine akhanda ananda, unbroken ananda. वो कैसे मिलेगा? It's not an object. It is through scriptures, gurus, teachers, mantras, but not that long process. We don't want that bahunam janmanam ante jnana. We don't want that millions of lifetimes. Forget about that thing. I mean, that's a verse in the Gita, so we have respect because that wo ek long path hai. But Bhagavan Krishna is saying, just start seeing me everywhere. Kitni adbhut sadhana hai. You don't have to tell anybody. Next, just do it today. When we go into the outside world, Bhagwan ka hi sab swarup hai. And then do our duty. Do it proper. Everything will be done in the functional reality will be done without any issue at all. There will be no problem left at all. Devi ji, go ahead, please, if you want to.